was just past midnight when I left the gas station off I-70. I had another 100 miles to go before I hit the next town, and there was nothing but asphalt and cornfields in between. I drive a lot for work, sales rep, but something about the drive that night felt off before I even pulled back onto the highway. The road stretched in perfect black silence, barely lit by my high beams. No cars in either direction, just me, my truck, and that gnawing sense that I wasn't alone. I told myself I was just tired. Cracked the window, let in the chill wind, turned up the radio, flipping between static and late-night country songs. That's when I saw the first one. It was too quick to see clearly, just a flash of pale skin and dark clothing. I flinched and swerved slightly, but by the time I passed the spot, there was no one there. I brushed it off, probably some hitchhiker, maybe a scarecrow from a nearby farm. But my heart rate didn't slow. Something felt wrong. This time, the figure was standing on the median strip, perfectly still, arms at its side. I didn't get a good look, but I swear its head turned as I drove by. I glanced in the rearview mirror, expecting to see the figure vanish into the distance, but it wasn't there. That's when I started to panic. I hit the gas, pushing 80, then 90. My headlights were the only thing keeping the darkness at bay, and every time they lit up the road, I expected something to be standing there, and soon enough, something was. About 20 minutes later, in the halo of my high beams, a man stood in the middle of the lane. I laid on the horn, swerved hard into the shoulder, nearly lost control. Gravel sprayed. The truck fishtailed, but I regained control and sped forward, breathing like I'd run a mile. I checked the rear view again. Nothing. No one. Except there was something in the back seat. I didn't see it clearly, just movement. A shifting silhouette. I stared into the mirror, willing myself to be wrong, and then it leaned forward. A pale, expressionless face stared back at me, its eyes like holes punched through a sheet of skin. It didn't blink, didn't speak, just looked. I slammed the brakes, my tires screamed, the truck fishtailed again, and I skidded to a stop halfway on the shoulder. I whipped around. The back seat was empty. I threw open the door and stepped out onto the cold pavement, heart hammering so loud I could barely hear the night. I shined my phone flashlight into the back seat and then the floorboard. I didn't see anything. I was shaking. I wanted to get back in and drive, just get the hell away, but every part of me screamed that if I sat down again, if I turned my back on the back seat, it would be there. Still, what else could I do? There was no signal, no cars for miles. I forced myself back into the truck, slammed the door, locked it, and didn't look into the mirror again. I kept driving, faster this time, feeling like the road was pulling me deeper into something I couldn't understand. And then the radio turned on. I hadn't touched it, just static, low, like a whisper. But underneath I heard something, a voice, not talking exactly, mimicking. It said my name once, then again, then again. My hands went numb. I tried shutting it off, but it didn't respond. I yanked the knob, nothing. Then the voice said, "Don't look in the mirror." I couldn't help it. My eyes flicked up. There it was, in the back seat again. Only now it was smiling. Its mouth wasn't right. It was too wide and way too many teeth for a normal person, and its eyes were no longer hollow. They were glowing like coals smoldering in a dead fireplace. I swerved again hard, and this time I lost control completely. The truck spun and rolled. All I could hear was screeching metal and glass busting, then silence. When I came to, I was upside down in a ditch, airbag blown, blood in my mouth, but I was alive. I crawled out of the wreckage and stumbled to the highway. A set of headlights approached in the distance. I waved, limping into the road. The car stopped. A man in a flannel shirt stepped out. "You all right?" I nodded, or tried to. He helped me sit on the hood of his car and called 911. As we waited, he asked what happened. I hesitated, then I told him. Told him about the figure on the road, the back seat, the voice. His face went pale. He didn't say anything for a while, then he said, "You're not the first to see it." I looked at him, confused. He said, "I picked up a man once, midnight, same stretch of road. He said his car was broke down a little ways down the road. He seemed normal enough, so I let him in." Midway down the highway, I glanced in the mirror. The guy had vanished. Just gone. No door open. No sound. Just gone. I asked him what he did. He said he never picked anyone up again. Then he looked over my shoulder, eyes wide, mouth opening but no sound coming out. I turned around, slow. There it was, standing just beyond the edge of the highway, watching, waiting, and smiling. I never drove that road at night anymore, and I always check my back seat before I get in. But sometimes, no matter how many times I check, I still hear my name on the radio, and I never look in the mirror. It was just after 11 p.m. when I got on Highway 46, heading west through a stretch of Nevada desert that most people try to avoid at night. My GPS said it was the fastest route back to California, 2 hours shorter than the freeway. I was running on fumes and desperate to get home after a brutal week of graveyard shifts at a distribution center. The road was a 2-lane blacktop lined with nothing but sand, rock, and the occasional bent road sign. No towns, no gas stations, just miles of desolation. The kind of place where the silence presses against your windows like something alive. I was about 40 minutes in when I saw the first thing that made my skin crawl. A sedan parked on the shoulder, hazard lights blinking. A woman stood beside it, backlit by my high beams. She raised an arm, trying to flag me down. I slowed instinctively, then noticed something off. She wasn't moving right. Her motions were stiff, puppet-like. Her head cocked too far to one side, like her neck couldn't support it. My instinct screamed at me, and I swerved back into the lane, speeding past her. In my rear view, I saw her drop her arm and turn back to the car. The hazard lights shut off, total darkness. I chalked it up to nerves, maybe exhaustion, but a cold unease settled in the pit of my stomach. 15 miles later, I passed a green road sign, and then the same car, the same woman, same pose, same dead, tilting head. I slammed the brakes. My headlights hit her full on, and this time she smiled. Not a polite "thank you for stopping" smile, but something twisted. Her lips peeled back too far, exposing teeth that seemed wrong. Too many of them, too sharp. Her eyes were wide open, but empty, black. I didn't stop. I punched the gas and flew past her, engine howling in the night. No cars behind me, no cars ahead. The highway was completely abandoned. 10 minutes later, my GPS glitched. The screen flickered and reset. The route recalculated itself. Next turnoff was 87 miles away. Another sign approached. Again. And waiting by the shoulder, the same woman, only this time she was closer to the road, just inches from the white line, hand outstretched as if she could brush the car as I passed. I swerved into the oncoming lane to avoid her. My knuckles were white on the wheel. My breathing turned shallow. I couldn't make sense of it. I checked the odometer. I had driven at least 25 miles since the first time I passed that sign. But every time the woman was there. Same car, same pose. I tried turning on the radio, nothing but static. My phone had no signal. The stars above looked brighter than usual, and the moon seemed too big, like it was pressing down on the desert. I thought about turning around, but when I glanced at the opposite side of the road, the mile marker was there too, mile 313. And she stood next to that one as well. I hit 90 miles per hour. The highway stretched out infinitely in front of me, but I couldn't find a way off. No exit ramps, no shoulder wide enough to turn, just two lines of cracked pavement slicing through the void. At some point, I noticed the air getting colder inside the car. The dashboard vents blew frigid air even though the AC was off. My breath fogged up the windshield. Then, something knocked on the rear passenger window. I didn't look. I just kept driving. Eventually, the desert around me began to change. The stars blinked out, one by one, until only blackness remained beyond my headlights. Then the headlights themselves began to dim, like someone was slowly dialing them down. Just before the lights went out entirely, I passed the sign again, but this time there were 3 of them. 3 identical women standing side by side on the shoulder, same faces, same twisted smiles, all motionless. I screamed, not words, just raw terror. Then I saw the road ahead was blocked. The same sedan now parked sideways across both lanes, hazard lights off, headlights off, no moon above, no stars, just that car and them. I slammed the brakes and skidded sideways, stopping just short of crashing. The engine died. Silence rushed in, thick and absolute. I locked the doors, heart pounding. The women didn't move. I grabbed my phone, still no signal. I turned the key. Nothing, not even a click. Every light on the dash was dead. Then they began walking toward me. Not running, just that slow, jerky marionette motion, arms slightly outstretched, like they were being pulled by something invisible. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Every muscle in my body seized. They reached the hood of my car. One placed a hand on the glass. Long fingers, bone-thin, nails like splinters. I couldn't see her face anymore. The shadow swallowed it. She leaned close and whispered something I couldn't hear, but I felt it in my gut, like her voice was a hook, reeling something out of me. Then headlights, a horn, tires screeching. I blinked and suddenly I was back on the side of the highway, daylight burning through the windshield. A truck driver was knocking on my window. "You all right, buddy? You were parked out here all night." I looked around. No sedan, no women, just open desert. He helped tow me back to a service stop. When I checked my phone, there were 10 voicemails from my sister, worried out of her mind. I'd been missing for nearly 3 days. I still have the dash cam footage, but every time I try to play it, the file corrupts at mile marker 313. And if you ever find yourself on Highway 46 at night, don't stop. Not for anyone, not even if they look like you.
I deliver medical supplies across state lines, mostly at night. I've seen some weird things out there. Dead deer twisted in unnatural ways, broken down cars with no one around for miles, even a guy in a clown suit standing motionless on the shoulder once. But what happened on Highway 47, I still haven't figured out. It started around 1:20 a.m. I had just finished a delivery to a small clinic outside of Ashford and was heading back toward the interstate, trying to make up time. My GPS suggested a shortcut down County Road 207, which fed directly into Highway 47. It was supposed to save me 40 minutes. I'd never taken it before, but it looked legit. I should have turned around when I saw the first set of figures. They were standing just off the road. 3 of them, wearing what looked like long, dark robes with hoods pulled up. I slowed my van instinctively, thinking maybe it was some kind of accident, but they didn't move. Just stood there facing the road. No flashlights, no reflective gear, just motionless silhouettes. I drove past without stopping. About 10 minutes later, I noticed something else. Every single mile marker was spray painted over. Not just faded, deliberately blacked out. Same with the road signs. Exit markers, directional arrows, even the big green overhead ones were all vandalized or removed entirely. That's when it hit me. I hadn't seen another car for almost half an hour. Then I saw the light. At first, I thought it was a fire in the woods off to my right, but it had this strange shimmer to it, flickering, not quite orange, not quite white. It hovered low, just above the ground, moving slowly through the trees, like someone was walking with a lantern, except it didn't bounce the way a flashlight would, it glided. I sped up. Whatever was happening back there, I wanted no part of it. I drove for maybe another 15 minutes trying to calm myself down. That's when the road narrowed into a single lane and the trees pressed in closer. I remember thinking it felt more like a trail than a highway. And then I saw them again. More figures. This time 6 or 7, lined along both sides of the road, perfectly spaced, all facing me. No one moved. I turned on my high beams, still no movement. Their faces were hidden by the hoods. One of them raised their arm slowly and pointed to the left into the woods. That same flickering light hovered there. I floored it. I must have driven another 5 miles, heart hammering in my chest before I slammed on the brakes. There were dozens of them now, standing in the road, forming a wide semicircle with a gap in the center like they were waiting for me. Behind them, the light grew brighter, pulsing. I backed up, tried to pull a U-turn. That's when I realized the road was gone behind me. I mean that literally. Where I came from, it was now trees. Dense, overgrown forest, no asphalt in sight. My GPS had cut out 20 minutes earlier, so I had no idea where I actually was. Then I heard it. Chanting. Low, rhythmic, like a guttural hum. The cult-like figures slowly began closing the gap in the semicircle, stepping closer to the van. I locked the doors, grabbed my phone. No signal. The light was almost blinding now. It rose up above the trees like a flare. But no heat, no smoke. I honked the horn, screamed at them, no reaction. Then someone stepped forward. Unlike the others, this figure wasn't hooded. I couldn't see their face clearly. It was glowing, not like a flashlight glow, but like internal. Like the skin itself was lit from underneath. It looked right at me and smiled. Then, just as the figure reached the hood of my van, it all vanished. Gone. No chanting, no light, no figures, just the empty road stretching forward. And suddenly I was at the interstate junction, Highway 47, Route 9. Signs all clean and readable. 8 a.m. I'd somehow lost almost 2 hours. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? But that's not the twist. This is. Last week I was at the loading dock in Ashford again. Same route, same supplies. I told dispatch I wouldn't take Highway 47. I didn't care if it took an extra hour. As I was leaving, one of the nurses, Jen, handed me an envelope. Said someone dropped it off for me. No return address. Inside was a Polaroid. It showed my van, parked, on Highway 47, surrounded by hooded figures. And in the corner of the photo, a glowing face, smiling. On the back of the photo, written in neat, red ink, "Thanks for coming back."